You are listening to the Growing Small Town Show, a podcast dedicated to supporting you, the person who really cares about the future of your small town. We believe when people get better, everything gets better, and our episodes offer the ideas and actions that prioritize people and small communities. Thank you for listening. We're so glad you're here. Our guest on today's episode is Brooke Taylor of Rural Gone Urban. That is the name of her marketing and branding agency, along with the name of her new foundation, the Rural Gone Urban Foundation, which we talk about a bit in this episode. Brooke joins us to discuss it's a wide-ranging, lovely conversation, as many of these end up being. But we discuss what it feels like to live a big life professionally in a small town, how to balance a lot of, she called them glass balls in the air, how to juggle them and do that with some relative ease. We talk about what it means to live your life by design versus default. And this is all wrapped in a really heart-wrenching and hope-fueled story, I would say, of Brooke's personal life. And again, I don't want to give too many spoilers. I'll let her tell her story. But again, this just illustrates that all over the world, at any given time, there are people navigating things similar to what you're going through. And we just continue to hope, that's our commitment to you in this show, that we highlight the stories of those people, the people that are willing to share their story and willing to be vulnerable, because it's not always easy. And it was so awesome to finally meet Brooke. I've followed her for years. She's had an online presence for a long time, and she's doing really great work, and there's so much we can learn from her. So get out your pencils and your pens, your favorite Sharpie gel pen if you're like me, and your favorite notebook, and get ready to make lots of notes listening to our new friend, Brooke Taylor. Well, hi, Brooke. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
It's so fun to finally meet you. I have followed your story. Honestly, I'll be real about it. I've been following you kind of since I started growing small towns. I've been back in my community for 16, almost 17 years now, which is wild.
Wow.
But
Yes.
It was in 2019 that I stumbled upon you and everything that you've been doing. So it's super great to meet you in person. And by person, I mean over Zoom. You're not sitting here with me.
How we all meet in 2025, right?
It is. Welcome. I'm super excited to dive in with you. So because as we were just talking, I already find you delightful. I can just tell that we're going to have a lovely conversation. So this could go in a million directions. How about we just say, start at whatever you want to consider the beginning. If it's the beginning of Rural Gone Urban, maybe as a business, we could start there. Sure. If there's a different place that you're like, actually, I thought it started here, but it really starts here, I'm down. You pick a place to start, Brooke, and we will honestly navigate it together.
This feels like a little much needed therapy session because I'm in a crossroads of all of the things, and I've yet to really dedicate the time in filtering them out and what would be my elevator speech of who I am as a person, what I do professionally, how I navigate through my community. So honestly, this is really great for me, and you're saving me a therapy bill. So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. My pleasure.
I am a multi-business owner who also runs a nonprofit, who is also a serial volunteer in my small town. And I love all of it, and I don't want to say no to any of it. Mm-hmm. In fact, I'm a perpetual yes sayer to the detriment of probably my friends and family. They're always telling me to say no to something, but I don't want to. All of it lights me on fire. All of it. I love every second of it. So if we were to say, what's the beginning? I think we just drop right into the shit show that is 2019. And that is, I created a career working for others, and I loved it. I ate it up. I was on flights all the time, working for national and international brands, for really ginormous advertising agencies. And I found myself in a not so great relationship, and I did the classic Lifetime to Hallmark movie switch. And
I moved
I know. And I moved back to Oklahoma and I got my last name back and I launched Rural Gone Urban from an apartment in a horse barn with no internet, a
That's fan-
digital agency. It was
that's
incredible.
fantastic.
It was the
Okay,
best year of my
can I
life.
ask a quick clarifying question for anybody that hasn't dug into your past? You were doing advertising and like marketing
Yes.
for what kind of, give us,
Agricultural
okay.
and
Yeah.
food organizations. So I worked for the advertising side for very large, well-known ag brands that y'all see every day. I was behind the scenes and I was behind the brand. My clients knew my names, but no one else did. And it was kind of the perfect place to be, almost like the Wizard of Oz. Like I was kind of
Right.
the choreographer and it was incredible. And I was
Mhm.
living in Nashville. I lived in a lot of big cities, but before the transition back to Oklahoma, I'm in Nashville in a picture perfect house. My agency is on the Boston Harbor. My largest client is in Indiana, and I'm just jet setting all over the place, living a very big and bold life. And then I moved back to where I grew up in Payne County, Oklahoma, in an apartment in the horse barn. Honestly, posted up at Panera Bread because it had the best high speed internet in Stillwater, launching a business. And it was incredible. And I bet on myself and it worked. And it's the best year of my life.
Can I ask a question? I mean, you're going
Of
to say
course.
yes. Did you have any of that? Because you just talked about how like you actually loved it, right? You were going to be
Mhm.
doing this for yourself, but you were back in a place where I'm going to maybe ask, did you always anticipate leaving it? Were you ever thinking about coming back? Did you have any of that boomerang, that weird feeling of just like, gosh, like I'm coming back here of my own accord. I've made this decision, but like, what does this say about me? Because you literally just painted quite I mean,
Yeah,
that's kind of like any young, I'll just say girl. Boys
right.
feel this way too, probably, but like you literally just described the life I always thought I would at some point have, and I never actually totally got there. Right? I went to a bigger city, but never like
Yeah.
that's a lot to, and I'm going to put
It
air quotes on
was
this, like give up.
it was a lot of pride to swallow, but I also
Okay.
had to do
Yeah.
it to save myself. Like,
Okay.
there's a lot of asterisks and side quests that were going with I ultimately had to quit my job for the agency at the Boston Harbor because there are no direct flights from Tulsa or Oklahoma City to Boston. And I knew logistically to save myself, I was going to have to give up something. And
Mhm.
I was worth way more than all the others, if that
Okay.
makes sense.
It does. It
And
does.
as a young person growing up in Payne County, Oklahoma, who went to school for agricultural communications and international agriculture, there was only one path at the time for success, and
Mhm.
that path was leaving. Period. End of discussion. There were no other alternatives. That was ingrained in me as an FFA kid in eighth grade. Like, if you want
It,
to do something, you have
yeah.
to leave. I'm
Gosh,
grateful that's not the case today,
same,
but it
but
was
it
then.
really it takes us though. It takes people, not just us, but people like us. People, somebody has to actually change the narrative by not only living it, but then talking
Mhm.
about it. And I like literally shout this from the rooftops because even though like what I gave up isn't even close to what you gave up to come here, I've really had to maneuver and massage and like navigate
Yeah.
trying to be who I feel like I was actually put on the
Yeah.
earth to be and do it from this little town. It hasn't been
Mhm.
easy. Like
Right.
I think it's BS. Like for me, it's
Yeah.
BS to be like, oh, it's just been all great. It's been all super great and super hard. Right. But I think that's like, I really want people to hear us say that. Like it's
Yeah.
different now.
It
You
is a
can
different
build.
challenge.
Yes,
Yes,
yes, but the possibility exists now. And also just
it is.
for some reference, how big is Payne County?
So, well, it
Like how big is
depends
the town
on
how big
that
is
I
the
grew
town
up
you
in.
yeah.
So I grew up in what I call a schmedium town, which is we had a red light
Like
and
small
a
medium.
Sonic. Yeah. So I graduated with 76
Okay.
kids.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, So not super small because we're a suburb of Stillwater. So in the summertime, a lot less people in Payne County. Right now, there's no way that you're going to get front row parking while the college kids are in town.
Got it.
Um, so kind of the best of both worlds there.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So you move back, you're
Hmm.
at Panera, setting up shop in Panera on a regular basis.
Crazy, right? So I then, I told you I transitioned from Lifetime to Hallmark, and I did the classic Hallmark, fall in love with the boy, get married in a snowstorm in Montana, get pregnant with a baby, just really leaning into my career, have incredible clients. I have some national and state clients. Like I'm just rocking and rolling. And
It's so great. I
is
love it.
so it was incredible. I was like, oh, I literally bet on myself and now it's all happening. Like this is it. This is everything I've prayed for. I'm working in a rural Oklahoma town with the hot smoke show of a guy. Like I'm gonna become a mom. I have big clients. This is incredible. Bam, cancer diagnosis on the day I became a mom. And it just all of
So
it went up in
the
smoke.
day you
So I
became a
thought.
mom, like you gave birth on the same day you got a cancer diagnosis. Is that what you're saying?
That is what I'm saying. Yes, ma'am. That is sure what happened. So here's how it went down. The Cliff Notes is while I was growing a baby and working a lot and doing all of the things that we do in life, just living. I noticed something happening on one of my breasts, and I brought it up to my doctor, and he said that's just something that happens when you're becoming a mom. And I thought, okay, I mean, you're the doctor. And unfortunately, he was wrong. And at my 38-week appointment, I took my shirt off and I was an advocate and I said, I'm not leaving until you feel this. Like, what's happening? And that was a Thursday. A Friday, I met a breast health specialist on Monday morning. He called me at 8 a.m. and told me it was cancer. And at 2 o'clock that day, I became a mom. And I had thought the biggest surprise about that day would be learning if she were a girl or a boy. And it turns out the biggest one was learning that not only is she a cancer per her sign, right? Being born in July, I also grew a cancer at the same time. So, pretty wild
That,
day of July in 2019.
okay. So I read this, but hearing you say it it hits me entirely differently. Um, I realize that you're sitting here, across from me, air
Yeah.
quotes. I feel like you're right here. One day, maybe we'll be in the same room together.
Yeah, someday.
Um, and I know that you take this situation. I can tell that there's just like a grit and a resilience in your entire being that you've transformed that into something incredible. And we'll go wherever that takes us here. But I just want to pause for a moment and tell you how sorry I am for
Thank you.
that incredible experience. Like I have 3 kids. Moms don't forget what it's like to give birth. You don't forget the day that your children are born. You don't forget what was happening. I cannot imagine what a
Hmm.
conflicting day that had to be for you, Brooke.
So I know it's a thing to say, oh, this was my worst nightmare, but I feel like that actually underplays it because that would that would insinuate that I was shocked by that happening. But the truth is, my dad passed away when I was 6 years old from cancer. And so my literal nightmare my whole life was to become a mom and to get cancer and to leave my kid. So this, in a lot of ways, wasn't shocking. It was just even more terrifying than you could exist because I had already been the kid who'd lost the parent to cancer.
That's there is no to me there is no way to sugarcoat that. There's no way to like gloss it up, and there's no platitude or trite cliche on the planet that can really articulate how that had to feel for you.
Yeah, and here's what I think. I'm always looking for the silver linings. I think
I
it's just
believe
who
that.
I was. People
Mm-hmm.
ask me why. I don't know. I think it's in my DNA. But what was a silver lining of this was I didn't sit in shock long because I'd already processed this and I already knew, well, I can't change it. This wasn't my fault. I didn't do anything to deserve this. It wasn't something I ate. It wasn't my deodorant. It was literally my DNA that I inherited from my dad, if we're being honest. My DNA said that there was an 87% chance it was going to rain in my lifetime. I did not know that. Please know, I did not know that to be on the offense. I do know that. I do know that now, but it was just a little bit in the cards for me. But it happened. It is a part of my story. It's unfortunately part of my daughter's story. And honestly, it was just kind of a speed bump in the year 2019. Did I go on to look like a eyebrowless potato? Yeah, I didn't look like the cute cancer girly from all your rom-coms. But I continued to work and I continued to rock my baby and learn how to do all of those things. And it was terrible. And for a hot second, that season was behind me. Right? Like, my hair grew back, I went through the Jimmy Neutron phase, my kids started crawling, I went from 3
Mhm.
months to 6-month checkups, and I got my clients back, and everything was rosy for a hot second, but unfortunately, it did come back. Statistically, it should not have. I had a complete response to chemo at the time of surgery, I did radiation, I gave my ovaries over to the cancer gods. I'd make a joke about that, I'm kidding, but, like, kind of, I gave them over as
Right,
an offering, and
right,
it didn't work,
exactly.
and it came back,
Yeah.
and my kid was 2 and a half, and it was the world's worst day. In fact, the day I was officially confirmed that it came back was March 11th of 2022, which happened to be the day that my dad went to heaven when he was
You are
25.
you are like this
No,
that's the kind of stuff you just like can't make up.
just you can't make it
And
up,
not
and it
that you
happened to
would,
be
like what kind of a sick joke would that be? But like that's crazy, Brooke.
crazy, and so,
Oh.
it actually happened to be the same day that a drug was approved for my use. Hadn't been approved for my use before, and so I immediately was able to start taking that drug, and, this is where it comes in, the biggest silver lining, and I know that you can appreciate this from a small town perspective, and that is what happens when someone dies too young. The local bank does a scholarship and it goes on for like 5 to 7 years, and it's
Okay.
wonderful, and I do not wanna downplay that at all. And also, I'm an entrepreneur, I've been behind brands, I've seen what can happen as when you just take control, and I was scared, and I knew, "What can I do to distract myself behind how scary this is?" And that's, "Well, let's launch a foundation, and I will just own the narrative of what my legacy is because I will literally write it." I'm a copywriter by trade. I build brands for a living. What if I build a brand that's so ridiculous? My kid can't outrun the things I love for her because if I go out to heaven too early, none of these people are going to want to let me down.
Mhm.
Anyway, so we did, and we are, and it's incredible.
So tell me more about the
Okay.
foundation.
So the foundation. So when I was in college, my roommate and I, when we moved to Oklahoma City, we started a blog called The Rural Gone Urban. And it was just two girls in our 20s with this blog, and we didn't have any money, so, we did this thing, and she moved home, and I kept the blog, and when I moved home in 2019 or 2017, I needed a business name. I was in the middle of transitioning of last names, thank God, and I needed a brand, and so that blog name became my business name, Rural Gone Urban. It was my Instagram handle for years, and I had blogged under that name for years, and I made it an official LLC. So that's been my brand, and a lot of people just know me as Rural Gone Urban, which is kind of
Mhm.
silly, but I love. And so I thought, well, let's just add a foundation on the end, and that name can go live on forever because it's catchy and it's cute. And
Mhm.
so the foundation, I know without a doubt because of my lived experience, if I'm to graduate to heaven early, people will only tell my child how incredible I am. And on paper, I am amazing. Truly, truly. I am a first generation college kid who was an overachiever in college, who was a homecoming queen, who got her master's degree. I wore an orange robe on graduation day as like I don't even know what it's called, a graduate of distinction. I don't
Mm.
even know if that's real, but I did, and it was cute and fancy, and then I went and had this big career, and then I launched my own business, and so now I'm an entrepreneur who learned how to do it from the ground up, and that sounds really wonderful on paper. And then I launched a foundation because I want to help women in the trenches of cancer because I want to show them by example that you are way more than your medical chart. Just because I had cancer at one point or I actively take medicine to this day, that I don't need to lead with that. And so we focus on these three tough seasons of my life that bring joy to others. And so we give scholarships we don't care about your GPA, just gritty and hardworking young women. We give marketing grants to women in the trenches because sometimes, you're on irs.gov on a Friday night when all your friends are hanging out, but like you are so in the trenches of launching your business, you'll do whatever it takes to succeed. And then we do love bombs because I am the mom who's thinking about how can I continue to mother this child if I'm not here. And sometimes for some moms, it's printing the 40,000 photos on your phone. For other moms, it's buying milestone gifts. For some, it's taking your son deep sea fishing. Whatever it is, no questions asked to do it. Can't use it on a medical bill, but you can use it to focus on your legacy. So that's what we're doing. It's not wild. And we
That's
will be 4
amazing.
years old in March.
How much money have you given away? How many
Ooh,
scholarships? Do you know any of your stats? I'm sorry, you were not prepared for
oh,
this, of course, but
I
even if you
wasn't
can round
prepared.
about, like,
Hold on. You asked me that, but I actually have the spreadsheet open. So let
oh,
me
how
tell you,
handy, Brooke, how
as
handy.
of today, $64,900 for Love Bomb recipients. We have done 15,000 in small business grants and $39,000 in scholarships.
That's absolutely incredible.
Hmm.
You really are. I'm just going to say it. I would say that you're not just impressive on paper, dear. You're fairly impressive, just like in the flesh. It's wild to me. How you're basically choosing. It's not even. It's a pivot, but it's like a reframe. It's like something comes. It's not. Again, like I just think you're a testament, in my opinion, to somebody that instead of saying, because again, there's so many things we can do and say when really tough stuff happens. And anything that feels like lands trite on my brain, I just want to immediately dismiss and be like, that's not helpful. But you aren't
Yeah.
just taking it and saying, like, I'm going to make this my purpose. It's like you're repurposing these really
Yeah.
difficult things into not only useful but powerfully good initiatives. They're creating more hope. Like it's I'm actually pretty blown away.
Well, thank you. I think I know that when you receive, let's say, a cancer diagnosis, people immediately like to use these descriptors of you're inspirational or you're powerful, or my least favorite, you're a warrior. Gross. Here's
Right.
the deal.
I have a friend that felt the same way who went through cancer.
No, I didn't, I didn't, I didn't sign up to be in this war. I got enlisted to a war. Don't want to fight. I can't see those air quotes, but I'm using them. But
Right.
don't care about. I don't care about it. I don't want to wear the color pink. I don't even want this to be part of who I am as a human.
Mhm.
And when last week I called to let some of our Love Bomb recipients know, I'm very honest with them. This isn't like a rom-com. This is literal hell. And there are days where you're going to think, what in the world happened that I would be deserving of this? And the answer is nothing. Earth
Nothing.
isn't the good place, like bad luck of the draw.
Right.
Um, and I know women just want to be seen, right? Like
Mhm.
in
Mhm.
college, so many people were uh, I would say glorified the fact that I was a homecoming queen and I was never in a sorority, or I paid my entire undergrad through scholarships. And yes, all that stuff is incredible. But do you know what was actually the most character building moments of those years? It was the humbleness. I had to call my dad once and be like, "Hey, I'm $50 short on my car payment. Can I borrow money?" And like I
Mhm.
cried before I made that phone call because I was so proud that I was doing that on my own. And it was working three jobs because no one else was going to save me and help me go to college. It was on my own. And it was not even knowing what to wear to a banquet because no one in my family had ever gone to a banquet before. It wasn't like I
Right.
could ask my family, like they didn't know. And listen, young listeners, back in 2007, what you wear to a banquet wasn't scroll TikTok and shop the TikTok shop. It was walk into Maurice's and buy what was ever on the mannequin,
Right.
including the jewelry,
Right.
right? Like we didn't have a lot of guidance. And I think I know that so many times we focus on the outcome and the good stuff is really happens in the trenches. That's the
Yeah.
good stuff.
I totally agree. I mean, and it's not like late, we're calling it the good stuff. It's actually the stuff that, like you
Yeah.
said, builds character, ends up defining what we're really made of. But I think
Hmm.
it's also really fair to just say, like, that doesn't mean you're welcoming the depths of some of that pain because you're
Yeah.
not. But it's also like, what are you going to do with it? Every single
Yeah.
person, but it doesn't mean you have to love it all. Like, I think
Yeah.
there has to be more room in our lives, in our relationships, in our life, and like just regular life for that nuance, for the nuance, for the
Yeah.
conflicted feelings. Cause like, I can't, again, I feel a little bit like you've had a couple of just really poignant moments of just pure conflict and feelings, getting a cancer diagnosis and having a baby on the same day. It's almost like hope is lost, filled back up, lost again, filled back up, like simultaneous, like in synchrony, right? Like it's happening at exactly the same time. And the same thing with getting your second cancer diagnosis on the same day that you lost your dad. Like those things are just right. And you get to just feel all of it and welcome all of it in
Mhm.
and then decide how to repurpose it into meaning. Because what you've done, Brooke, is you've made deep meaning out of everything that's happened to you.
Thank you for saying
And
that. Oh,
not everybody knows. We're not told or taught how to do that. So all the credit goes to you, and of course your support system. I'm sure you have an incredible support system. I still, as a woman that knows what it takes to build a strong support system, I still would like to give the credit to you for that. You
yes.
have to be the kind of person that people can and want to support. You have to be the kind of woman that can ask for help, which isn't always easy to do. Like if you've got a strong support network, you've built it kind of brick by brick. So
You know,
damn, I wasn't expecting to be totally inspired on a Monday, December 1st, 2025, but here we are.
so you bring up a really good point. My friends and I have been talking a lot about being a villager. So many, I feel like I see
Mm-hmm.
TikToks about, I don't have a village like my mom did or my grandma did. And it's like, well, are you a villager? Are you showing up when it's inconvenient, when it's uncomfortable? Because if you're not
Amen.
putting into something, you can't take out.
Mm-hmm. 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 So important in a small community too. I think there's just a lot
Yeah.
of stuff that
So,
happens in a small community kind of like by default.
yeah.
And I think what would it look like if we did these things more by design instead of
Yeah.
just like defaulting to the way things tend to be?
So I said at the beginning that I feel like I'm in this chaos of I don't know what my elevator speech is
Yeah.
because I'm in this transition of so I have my business where I do coaching and I have this a really incredible client. I do all of my keynote speaking and my brand ambassador stuff and then I also have this new opportunity where I'm an owner of another company. So
Okay.
it's called Empire Ag and I actually started with them in 2022 when my cancer came back as a contractor and they were launching their business from scratch. So I've been with them as a contractor from the beginning. There were just two of us. And now we are a team of 15 and I bought in
Wow.
as an owner and we do brand strategy and all of the stuff I did through agencies. And I kind of took that leap to say, there was this hesitation truly of like, what do you mean I can't go be a business owner and take this opportunity because I take cancer treatment twice a day for the rest of my life. And then I thought, no, I tell every woman to go live boldly. And if I should, I'm passionate about this company. I ride for this brand and I love our clients and we serve farmers and renters and ag businesses all across the country. Like I can do both. Of course I could do both. And so I just am. And I'm excited and I love it. And it's incredible. And here comes the weird, I would say, piece of being in a small town where your job is kind of like this, how we're meeting virtually, and I have clients all over the country. No one actually knows what I do for a living. And that's okay, right? Like, it's not like I'm walking around town with a banner. And so I
Oh,
find myself
Brooke.
like as a PTA mom and an ag booster, and now I'm the 4-H leader. And then our state 4-H office noticed this growth in our 4-H club. So now they're asking me to be on, you know, committees for state 4-H. And you know, I have way less hours than Beyonce because I don't have any of her assistants. And I
Right.
also want to be like, guys, I'm on cancer treatment and I'm tired, but I don't want to tell anyone that, you know? And so someone recently found out that I technically have an incurable cancer diagnosis that I'll have to keep in my medical chart forever. And then and they're like, what do you mean? Like, they were confused. They're like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "Yeah, it's fine. I just feel hungover and tired every day, but I just keep doing all the things." And they just, like, could not comprehend that that was real. It's like, "I'm so grateful that you didn't know that, and I just power through, and you have no idea." And also, I'm tired, but also
Mhm.
it's amazing, and the just living is the whole dang point.
The Growing Small Town show is recorded locally at the Growing Small Towns podcast studio located in Oaks, North Dakota. It's produced by Pheasant Canteen Studio in Aberdeen, South Dakota, with marketing support from Cassidy Johnston in Canyon City, Colorado. Our intro music was created and produced exclusively for Growing Small Towns by James Bergman, singer and songwriter from Fargo, North Dakota. Local and small. It's what we support and it's who we love. Get your community a shout out on the podcast. Call 701-203-3337 and share your small town success that you just don't feel is being celebrated quite enough, and let us shout you out. You can also share your biggest people challenge, and we'll dedicate an episode to offering ideas to help. Hell, you can basically tell us anything, and we'll do what we can to answer. We can't wait to hear from you.
You know the hardest part about community work? It's not the funding or the planning, it's the people stuff. The burnout, the resistance to change, the we've always done it this way people. And that's why we started the Growing Small Towns Club, a place where community doers and dreamers can bring their toughest challenges, share what's working, and feel a little less alone. It's part think tank, part pep talk, and 100% heart. Join us for just $30 a month at growingsmalltowns.org/club, because communities thrive when their people do.
Today's episode is brought to you by The Yellowbird, the small family-run skincare company that proves you don't need a science degree in chemistry to read a product label. My good friend Nicole started The Yellowbird because she wanted safe, natural, and super simple ingredients for the products for her own kids. And now the rest of us just get to benefit. Everything is chemical-free, fragrance-free, and full of ingredients that actually do what they're supposed to do, and at a price that you can actually afford. They are practically the official skincare brand of GST. We highly recommend the face oils and the chapstick. Try these products out for yourself and use code GST at checkout to save. Right. Okay. Can we dive into some of this a little bit? Are you
Yeah,
comfortable with
yeah.
that?
Ask the
I just
questions.
want to ask you so many questions. First of all, I want to go back to this comment of you're in this small community where legitimately people just don't know what you do.
I have no idea.
I completely understand this. I like completely understand this. And it's
Yeah.
short of like wearing a sandwich board and walking up and down your main street, somehow demonstrating your skill set. I don't know
Right?
what, I
Like,
don't
I
know.
don't
I don't
know.
know how you get over that hurdle. I think it's important for women. I think it's important for men too. I feel this really deep need to call this out for women because of the community that women really need,
Mhm.
to function. And men need it too. I don't know. I just feel like women, it's also just, it's not as kind of culturally appropriate or societally appropriate to brag.
Yeah.
in any meaningful way. And that's, and like, I'm in the Midwest where culturally we just like, we don't talk, we don't brag at all. I mean, it's like, don't toot your own horn, let someone else toot it. The sound will be louder or whatever, that's how it was. So I just think like, it's really hard. That is a hard thing to navigate. Because, and Cassidy, who introduced me to you, works with us here at GST. We were talking about this and we were saying like, it's this weird experience to feel like you're kind of a big deal, but like nobody would actually care and you don't really care. But there still is this like, it almost, I think what it feels like, you said it earlier, I think it feels like you're not fully seen.
Yeah.
It's not that I want people to think I'm a big deal, because that isn't what it's about, right? But it's sometimes you have those feelings or those moments where you're like, do you know though?
So
like what I do. And I just think it's again, back to conflicting feelings. There we go. Right. It's so hard.
yes. So I know that there are certain clients that if I were to attend a client meeting and I walk into their corporate boardroom, I do not have to there's just an automatic respect there. They already respect what I bring to the table. They value my insight. They're excited that I'm there. And then sometimes in a smaller community, it's, oh, Brooke can make a Facebook post kind of a thing. Like that's the value
Yeah.
I can bring, which is fine. And also I'm happy to do that after my kid goes to bed 100%. And also, you know what I'm saying? Like I have to explain to people why it's uncomfortable to explain, hey, here's actually the value I could bring. I actually have a whole team of designers that I could, do some comped hours for, but then I have to explain to people that I own a business that they've never even heard of. And it's like it's a thing,
Mm-hmm. It is. And I just really deeply resonate with that. And I also think it's important that we're just saying some of these things because of the fact that, again, I think it feels like we're both pretty passionate about people following their passion, especially if they want to start a business. Of course, I want people to do that in whatever corner of the world they want, right? Big town, small town. If you're in a small town, you just have to understand that this might be a dynamic. This might be a dynamic that you have to traverse. And it's not a bad thing, but I do think this is why we have these conversations. This is why you're surrounded by other entrepreneurs and business owners. I'm sure you have a pretty good core of people that you can say these things to and they get it.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, it's so important. It's so important.
Struggle for a while. I would say my community of friends who are like-minded are not in my town. They're all across. So, right. It's phone calls, Snapchat, like whatever, how we're keeping in touch, long voice memos. But I am so lucky. I feel like I've been pouring into this small town village for a long time. And now there's this group of women here in my small town.
That's so great.
And I'm not from this small town. I don't live where I grew up. I live a couple hours away because of my husband's job. But now, like if I get invited, let's say that they're going to go to a lunch or do something for someone's birthday in midday, because a lot of them maybe either also work from home or stay-at-home moms. And now they're just like, yes, Brooke, come. My car has Wi-Fi. You can sit in the back seat. And they are so accepting and such great cheerleaders of like, there's no way Brooke is going to be able to reschedule all of her calls, but like they're okay with it and they embrace and love that about me. And they might not get it, but they get it.
Yeah,
and
they welcome it, right? They at least don't actively not get it, which is different.
So I kind of feel presidential, I'll be in the back of the SUV with like my laptop and I'm just being driven to all, with a girl gang. It's so silly, but I love it.
No, it's so great. And I just think that's so important. Okay, I wanted to touch on that. But then like, I really want to ask you, do you feel like burnout or just a little bit of that depth of tiredness that you're talking about? Like, is it starting to feel harder to ignore? Like, I'm actually asking because like, I understand that you want to say yes to everything. You're a chronic yes sayer, right? You just say yes. I just want to check. I just want to check in on
Sure.
you
No,
about that.
I love a welfare check. So there's two layers here. One, if you go to the medicine I have to take twice a day, every day, forever, if it stops working, it literally tells me to take on the website. It advises a nap every day.
And you're like, when am I going to do that?
When am I going to do
Thanks.
that? A nap every day, like it is brutal medicine. When I first my body's acclimated to it now a little better, but when I first started taking it, I would take this small pill and I would literally be in bed for an hour because I could feel my bones vibrating. So now I've just
Oh,
become
wow.
used to it, but that's still happening to me. I just am used to it. So
Mhm.
that level of fatigue, medical fatigue, is so different than burnout. So I
Mhm.
battled that every day. And then I would say, yes, there is a little bit of burnout. I would say creeping. I'm trying to do a better job of pausing. But I would say I don't know what this says about my psyche, but I'm fueled by respect. I don't need my name to be on a billboard. I just enjoy acknowledgement. Like to me, there's no greater reward than like a silent head nod from across the room, just like an I see you, if that
Mhm.
makes sense.
Mhm.
That's like buckets of gold to me. Just like I see you and I'll be like, I will move mountains for you just because you acknowledge that I'm here to help the greater cause. So there are days, so as I'm a leader of an organization, a youth organization, of a local club, and one day, here I am managing these two businesses and a nonprofit, which by the way, I'm the board chair and the executive director. So a lot of people think
Mhm.
that we have someone running the non it's me. I do that. Um, I don't know when, but I do that too. So the person said, "Oh, I just don't have time to do that." And I was like, they wanted me to do like do something for them. And in my mind, I was calculating, okay, if I do this for you because I know your kid needs this and I want to do this for your kid, I'm going to have to cancel two meetings at a minimum, reschedule my whole day, and it's going to do this. But I believe, and I don't know what's going on behind that parent story, but like it sounds to me like you just don't want to. And like, I don't know if that makes sense. I don't know if this is even relevant to the podcast, but I think that like
You're good. Yeah, no, you're good.
sometimes it feels like I need everyone to care as much as I do, and maybe just need to talk about that in therapy, but maybe I feel like I care too much, and I just need other people to catch up a little bit.
Oh, man. Okay. So I'm not a therapist. Let me just
Yeah.
say, I feel like a lot of the conversations we end up having are akin to it. They're adjacent. We'll call it tangential and
Mhm.
adjacent to therapy. Um, I think that the hardest thing about that is that
Mhm.
there's nothing wrong with you holding yourself to that expectation. There's just
You
not.
can't expect other people. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and that's just it. Like, and you actually can't step in the gap for other people in that way. So
Mhm.
it might be some boundary stuff that you could explore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and it
No. I
doesn't
took us
feel
on a
like,
side quest.
well,
I
you're
took us
good.
on a
No, you're
side
good. Like,
quest.
this is just reality though. Like, my goodness, I can't even tell you the number of times we've talked about how hard it is to say no.
Yeah.
And it's not just, and the difference here is you're a vivacious yes sir, and you're a full-throated yes sir. But you say it with intention, you mean it. More
Mhm.
often I feel like women are saying yes when they don't mean it, and that's bad for everybody, women and men. People say yes out of for all the wrong reasons.
Obligation, for sure.
They feel guilty, they feel shamed, they feel kind of pushed, or into it
Mhm.
somehow. That's a different story. But I do think that you'll have to, because I don't know, Brooke, maybe as long as you're not looking at people and feeling kind of like low key disappointed
Oh, no,
in
that's
them,
not it.
it doesn't seem like that with you. So, I
Yeah.
mean, there's no perfect way
Anyway.
to do any of this. I just feel the depth of your fatigue. Like,
I
just trying
know.
to imagine everything all, and we haven't even really touched on how old your daughter is.
She
I
is
mean,
6. She's
okay.
in 1st grade.
Yeah.
She's
So,
incredible.
yeah. So that's busy. And,
Mhm.
you have a family life on top of
Mhm.
everything else. Like, it's a lot. It's
It
a
is.
lot.
And also, I would be like this whether cancer was in the chat or not.
Mhm.
you
Mm-hmm.
know, this
This
is
is how
just
you're
kind of who
wired.
we are. This
Yep.
is just who I am.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah. One of the things I read on when I was kind of, I don't really do research for this podcast. I'd rather just do this. So thank you for entertaining just a big, messy conversation, because that's how it should be
love
to
it.
me. But I was looking at your keynotes, and one of the things that you talk about, and I just want to call out this particular, I'm paraphrasing, I won't get the words exactly right. But you had noted that just because your pain isn't cancer doesn't mean it's insignificant. And
Mm-hmm.
I would love for you to talk a little bit about that, because I actually think in small communities, we do a lot of that pain comparison that
Mm-hmm.
actually manifests in kind of an unhealthy way. And then I think a lot of people are closeted about their pains. That's such a specific word that's usually used in a very specific context, but I simply mean we're hiding it, right?
Yeah.
And when we keep hard stuff in the dark, it starts to kind of metastasize, again, to use the language of cancer, like it grows, it becomes more toxic. And I just don't think that's helpful. It's not good for all of us. So I really wanted to ask you about that, because you specifically called that out. And I thought that was really important for more people to hear. So would you share a little bit about kind of what that, because that's part of one of your central keynote messages. Yeah. Okay.
Yes. So what I noticed while I was going through the season of baldness is no one, everyone else's life seemed to be going really well. And at first I thought, oh, I must just be really in the bad place of going through cancer treatment. And then I realized, no, no one's telling me about what's going on in their lives because, and they, in their minds, it was nothing compared to me being eyelashless and, you know,
Mhm.
gaining 45 pounds of steroid weight. Like in their minds, there was no way it was as close to what I was dealing with. But of course, I want to hear what my sister's going through and my best friends are going through. Of course, I
Mhm.
want to know why they're annoyed at their husband. Like, give me the tea. Let me know.
Right.
Why
Yeah.
are you mad at your boss? What, like, you're going to tell me that I've learned about all of the sub characters of your life for the past 20 years, but all of a sudden I don't get to know why Janet is ticking you off and that, like, at the water cooler? Like,
Mhm.
what do you mean? Like, and
Mhm.
so what I found was kind of twofolds was one, if we downplay what we're actually feeling, like you said, it just manifests. So, like, we have to feel those Care Bears. Otherwise, they're just going to become monsters. And
Right.
two, do other people the service of allowing them to sit in the trenches with you. Because just like we have to be villagers and go out and be part of the village, if we don't allow people to sit in the pain with us, then no one's going to come and help us. Like, no one's coming to save us unless we offer them an invitation.
Right. Right. This is,
And
I think,
also, like,
yeah.
just like maybe you did have a really bad morning and you had a flat tire and someone cut you off, and maybe you forgot your debit card at home, and maybe that was super embarrassing at the Walmart when you were trying to check out, but then you didn't have your card. Maybe it did give you PTSD from when you were a child and your parents didn't have a lot of money. That probably sucked,
Hmm.
you know? And it's
Hmm.
okay that it sucked. It's okay.
Yeah. I think it's just so interesting. I personally have done a lot of therapy in the last
Mhm.
handful of years. And I feel like I've learned a lot about just kind of how to emotionally process. But I think too, there's a lot of kind of canned personal development ideas that I think again, it's that triteness that I was talking about. Like even the book, like Don't Sweat the Small Stuff, and it's all small stuff. I'm like, yeah, but like, sometimes the small stuff, it just depends. Like on one day it might bother you, the next day it might not. And it still is a moment of connection. And I don't only connect with people over pain. I mean, for heaven's sake,
Right.
that's not true at all. But I think what you're saying is it's an invitation into your heart, your life, and your experience. And I think it's so important not to um, do that general comparison of like, well, it's literally like, well, at least I don't have fill in the blank. You know, like your
Right.
husband's driving you nuts. And if your friend looks at you and says, well, at least you have a husband, that's not showing up for each other, you know? Like
Yeah.
I
Like
just,
that's not helpful,
it's not
you know?
helpful. And it just makes you then feel bad about feeling bad. And I
Yeah.
just think that's
So
it's a beautiful part of, you're really letting people be human. And I think that's, again, I talk a lot about, how we have to avoid letting the robots win, you know, like AI and just
yeah.
everywhere that's going. Well, how we do that is that we human better,
Yeah.
you know,
And human better.
we
No, that's a
have,
really good point.
we have to, otherwise, you know, technology is, it's just not, to me, it's never going to replace humans. And I hope I'm not wrong about that. I really like to
Hmm.
be right, Brooke, but I really hope I'm right about that one because
Yeah.
I think there's something
So,
beautiful that happens when people show up for
yeah.
each
So
other.
before inspirational or real or cancer entered the chat, I built a career in communications and marketing and branding and building a brand. And I will tell you that it's just, are you human or are you not? Are you
Mm-hmm.
authentic or are you not? Did you run it through ChatGPT 900 times or did you take the time to say, oh, what do I actually want to say here? And
Mm-hmm.
that's the baseline of anything I want to work with, whether it's a human or a business, a client. And that's just, I just want more authentic everything
Mm-hmm.
in the world.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. And
Well, because there's no perfect answer to much of anything, right? And
mm-mm,
it's because, again, you could tell me exactly how to do something, and I'm still going to have to filter it through my own self, my
right.
experience, my lens, the life I've lived, where I want to go, all those things, right? So
Yeah.
it's not as if we can't. I don't know. There's steps and there's templates and there's processes and there's all those things, but authenticity means you're applying it in a way that's true for you. And I think it's
Yes.
super special when you think about the fact that none of us are exactly the same. No two of us are
Mhm.
exactly alike. I mean, what a cool opportunity. Figure out who you are and become more of that. Things will
So,
happen. Things will open up for people.
yes. Well, I believe I'm here where I am today, and all of the doors have opened up for me truly because of 2019 when we had talked about I was behind the curtain for all of these brands in my entire career. And I
Mm-hmm.
found myself with a newborn, scrolling, chemo sweat, just living a thriving life. And when I would look to see who has walked this path before me, I couldn't find anything. All I could find in Instagram at the time was or were and to no hate to these people. I
Mm-hmm.
want to be very clear. This is how they
Right.
chose to walk their path, but it was very a glorified version of chemotherapy. It was wigs and makeup and all of this stuff to make yourself beautiful. And I was like, I don't know about you guys, but I feel like Uncle Fester. Like I am not feeling pretty. And also I don't want to be pretty. Like I've seen myself cute before. I know that I was cute before and I know I could be cute again if we're going to look at them, the materialistic type things. But so I ordered my kid a black wig, my newborn. She was like 3 months old, a black wig, and I braided it so she looked like Wednesday. And I put black makeup all across my face, and I looked like Uncle Fester for Halloween. And the internet lost their minds that I how like it was the funniest thing they saw because they were like, that is the most ridiculous thing ever. That mom with her newborn, that mom we just saw her beautiful maternity photos of like 3 months ago,
Right.
is
God,
leaning in.
it's wild. It's a wild ride. That is
It's
a
a
wild
wild
ride.
ride,
Mm-hmm.
and they were just like, "What? Like, this mom is not," and I was like, "Forget it. I don't need a ball cap. I don't need a wig. Like, here's my head, guys. This isn't great. I'm getting purple stretch marks where I used to have white stretch marks, and nothing about this is fun." And that's when I realized, "Oh, I'll just be my own brand, and I will just create however I want to." And it was
Mm-hmm.
so authentic. I believe that's why people were and are drawn to it because I talk about, yes, my life is wild. Yes, I have to take this medicine that I am so appreciative for science. And also, it sucks. And
Mm-hmm.
also, I'm running a business. And also, I love my kid. And also, I'm not separating and saying separation of church and state. I'm just saying my life is all of it and it is
Yep.
messy. And that's okay.
Mhm. Yeah,
Love it or don't.
I know. I love that too. I really I share that general sentiment. I don't want to compartmentalize.
Yeah.
I've got three kids. My kids are all a lot older than yours. They're 16, 14, and 11. And
Wow.
they've been places with me when I'm speaking. They've been like, my son's been on the podcast,
I
like
love that.
they know, and they know that this work, my work, is important to me, that the way I show up at home is a reflection of the work, right? Like
Yeah.
all of it. They understand it. They're a part of it. Sometimes I'm gone, right? I
Yes.
travel sometimes for work, and that can be hard. And that's the thing too. I think a lot of times there's not a lot of understanding of that. It's a quick one that it's pretty easy to judge. And so just, again, having that strong support network where you can say it and just know that it's okay. Knowing other people that do life that way is really, really helpful. Because honestly, because I don't know how old you are, and you don't have to tell me, but
it's almost my birthday.
Is it? When's your birthday?
Ask me. It's 12/12, and I will be 39.
Okay. Yeah. You're knocking on the 40 portal. Is a fantastic voyage. It is.
I moved home a month after I turned 30. I moved back to Oklahoma. So these 10 years have been
what a
crazy.
decade. Yeah.
What a decade. Like, wild.
And I don't know. I just think what you're doing is basically, I don't know, like I said this earlier, but it's like every single thing that comes to you, you're actually letting it be what it is, which is a mix of maybe a little bit of good and a little bit of bad, a little bit of hopeful, a little bit of hard. And you're not just dismissing it all as one thing. And I think that's a skill to develop, is to actually hold the tension that sometimes exists in things. And then if it ever starts to tip too much in one direction, maybe that's when you release it. And obviously you don't get to release your cancer treatments. So
unfortunately,
that's just something that you're always going to have to just continue to navigate. But when it comes to the choices we're making, I think that lens of authenticity, and you'll continue to shift and grow and change.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's the point. That's
just
the entire
living is
point.
the whole point.
It is. So, gosh, I've loved this conversation. I knew I would. I always love talking to people that do speaking for a living. It's a really specific thing to decide to do. And again, like, I read the whole, basically, don't compare your pain. It's not insignificant just because it's not cancer. And I was like, oh, I can't wait to ask her about that. So there was just so many things. I knew this was going to be great. As we wrap our conversation, what do you really want, especially the women? We keep talking about the women. That's okay. I don't mind that being kind of the case. Your foundation is for women business owners. What do you want women in small communities? What do you want them to know? What's like a touch of Brooke Taylor, rural gone urban wisdom?
You can design your life however you want it to be. Like, you are the captain of the ship. Are there really steep hurdles, and are there steep learning curves? Absolutely. Will it feel impossible some days? Absolutely. And is it possible? 100%. And when I mean design your life, it's not an MLM like get rich situation. I'm talking about the actual, how do you live your day-to-day life? Like, it starts, for me, it's like, cull out the stuff that doesn't fit, cull the humans that don't fit, cull the volunteer, cull all of it, and get it back to what serves you well, and then rebuild it how it makes sense for you.
Right. It's beautiful advice. And I think we used the phrase earlier. It's basically the opposite of living by default. And that can be really hard if you have a moment. And honestly, I've walked a lot of women and friends through the 40 portal. There's something really interesting that happens around, I guess, quote unquote, midlife, where you kind of do just start to go, all right, like, is this really it? Are these things the things I should be doing? And is this the career I should be? It's like you actually start to assess things a little bit. And there's just, that's where it starts. You can't cull anything if you're not analyzing it or assessing it. You can't address anything if you won't look at it. So And again,
This
I get
is
it. Yeah. Like there's not there's not everybody lives this way. Like I get that a lot of people are just like autopilot and completely doing things by default.
like
I think everybody's made for
don't
more,
want
but
yeah, I don't want anyone on this podcast or who's listening to hear, "Hey, I'm sorry, it's cancer." But you also don't have to hear that to decide how you want to live your life. Like that Tim McGraw song, like
yeah.
you could just do it today. And
Mhm.
also, if you want to like a really humbling experience, like write your own obituary as if you were going to die tomorrow and then decide,
Oh, love
does
that.
any of this matter?
Yeah.
Does any of it matter? Because honestly, they only give you so much character space.
Hmm.
What fits? What do you want people to say about you? Because there's a difference between what you want people to say about you and then how you actually live your life and if they're going to. Because you actually don't get a say in what they write in your obituary when you're gone.
Right.
I mean, I'm gonna leave a draft as like a suggestion. Um,
Of course you are. You'd be like,
yeah,
listen, some small edits are welcome.
some some
Please
small edits,
proofread for grammar.
please, pro Oxford comma. Thanks.
Yes, ma'am. We are pro Oxford comma around here too. I love that. But I think that's such a great, because that's where the don't sweat the small stuff actually is relevant, right? It's like
Mhm.
we spend a lot of time thinking about things, pouring our energy and time into things that if it's not obit impactful, what are we doing? What are we doing? And that's just it. I think you had said it to me earlier, and it might have even been before we hit record, where if you're a high achieving person, you're going to get tapped on the shoulder a lot, right? To do
Mhm.
lots and lots and lots of things. And there's nothing wrong with that. But again,
Mhm.
this is where that challenge of just actually ascertaining, are you living by default or by design? Are you doing
Yeah.
what people want you to do? Are you doing what will really fill you up? Because when we say yes to those things, it is like actually lighting up. It's our
Yeah.
contribution. We're doing it with kind of that full heart and full investment. It's totally different than
Yeah.
when we say yes just because we think we should. So
Absolutely.
thank you for sharing
Of
everything
course.
with us today, Brooke. It was so great. It was so great to meet you finally.
Yeah. Thank you for the invitation.
Well,
Oh,
and we'll make sure we call everything out in the show notes. And maybe we're
okay.
going to just have to get you to come and speak in North Dakota sometime.
Oh my gosh, I would love to. I don't think
Have
I've
you ever been to North
spoken.
Dakota, my dear?
I have driven through North Dakota,
Okay.
but I've
Okay.
not spent a significant amount of time there, but I would love to.
Well, let's figure out. Maybe 2026 is the year. We're going to figure out how to make that happen.
I'd love it. All right.
Me
Well, thank you
too.
so much.
Thank you, Brooke. We'll see you soon.
Okay. Bye.
We hope you loved this episode of the Growing Small Town Show. We encourage you to leave us messages at 701-203-3337. And be sure to subscribe to our newsletter at growingsmalltowns.org. In the meantime, keep doing what you can with what you have right where you are. Your community needs you.
Because we are growing small towns. We are growing small towns. We're right here living our best lives, as crazy as it sounds. But we are growing small towns. Growing small towns, we are growing small towns. We are growing small towns.